Before we begin, take a moment to get comfortable. Let your arms go heavy, your breath slow. And as you listen, feel free to leave a comment sharing what time it is, where you are, and what city or village you're listening from. It's love to know. And if you'd like more quiet stories like this one, don't forget to subscribe so they gently appear when you need them most. Now, you close your eyes and think of space. Not just distance, but emptiness. The black between stars, the silence between planets. It feels like absence, a quiet canvas on which galaxies are painted, a place where nothing happens. But even now, as your breath slows and your thoughts grow soft, the story begins to change. In classical physics, space is what remains when everything is taken away. No light, no particles, no heat, no sound. It is background, not foreground. A passive setting for more important things, but quantum physics asks us to look again, to soften our eyes, to listen with something deeper than ears, because the vacuum, what we used to call empty space, is not quiet at all. It hums, it flickers, it churns with invisible potential. And it does all this while seeming, on the surface, completely still. It begins with a question. What is nothing? You might say, it's the absence of everything, of matter, of motion, of meaning. But nature resists such perfect silence. Even in the deepest vacuum we can create, in labs cooled to near absolute zero, shielded from light and sound, energy remains tiny. Unpredictable fluctuations ripple through the fabric of reality. Not because something has gone wrong, but because this is the rule. This is the nature of what we once called nothing. Physicists call it quantum vacuum energy, or zero-point energy, the lowest possible energy a system can have. Not zero. It's never zero. Even the ground state of existence holds motion. Picture an ocean at night. The surface seems calm, flat, still. But deep below, currents twist and swirl. Visible tides pull at the edges. This is what space is like. What we call emptiness is an ocean of hidden waves. These waves are not sound, not water, not wind, but probabilities. A field of likelihoods constantly shifting. You may never see a photon or an electron appear from nothing before your eyes. But the math tells us the vacuum is always busy. Particles flicker in and out of being. Energy changes form. The void, which seemed so still, becomes alive. In a sense, this is how the universe began. Not with a bang exactly, but with a fluctuation, a spark in the vacuum. Some theories suggest that even time and space were born from this trembling. That the entire cosmos is a blossom on the surface of nothingness. Think about that. Not a thing added to the void, but the void itself shifting slightly and becoming more. In the dark between stars, in the silence between atoms, there is this same potential. The vacuum is not the absence of reality. It is raw possibility. You might wonder how we know this. If we cannot see or hear it, what proof do we have? Science does not demand that we touch the flame to know it is hot. Instead, we measure its consequences. The famous Casimir effect, for instance. Take two flat metal plates and place them in a vacuum. They're not touching. Nothing is between them. Yet slowly, gently, they move toward each other. Why? Because the quantum fluctuations outside the plates are slightly different from those inside. It's more pressure on the outside. The plates are pushed together, not by air, not by magnets, but by nothing. This is not magic. It is math, and it works every time. Even atoms, those tiny building blocks of everything, behave differently because of vacuum energy. Electrons orbit slightly differently. Transitions between energy levels are shifted. Without the vacuum, atoms would look and behave like something else entirely. So now, let's return to the stars. Imagine drifting in space. You're in the farthest void between galaxies. There is no planet nearby, No starlight touches your skin. No sound reaches your ears. It would feel like nothing. But beneath that silence is a ceaseless hum, a low, gentle energy that never stops. The fabric of space-time is alive with potential, a lullaby sung by the laws of nature. You are not separate from this. Your own body, your thoughts, your breath, all happen within these fields. Even the emptiness in your cells is not empty. It is full of fluctuations, rich with quantum motion. Stillness is never truly still. And this idea is gentle revolution in understanding. It changes more than just physics. It changes how you see everything. How often do you mistake quiet for nothing? How often do you assume that absence means a lack of meaning? But here, in the vacuum, we learn a softer truth. Silence can be full. Emptiness can be rich. Stillness can be alive. Even your quietest moments, when the world seems paused, when you feel hollow, might hold motion beneath the surface, a flicker, a hum, the beginning of something new. In this way, the vacuum is a teacher, a reminder that even when nothing appears to happen, everything might be changing. So you breathe softly, slowly, and you listen again to the darkness. What does it mean to live in a universe where nothing is never truly nothing? It means the story is never really over. It means every pause holds the possibility of a beginning. It means that you, like the cosmos, are more than the space between events. You are fluctuation, you emotion. You are a living part of a vacuum that never rests. And tonight, as you lie still beneath your ceiling or the stars, know that the silence around you is not empty. It is charged. It is waiting. It is alive. What you once called nothing is already something soft, invisible, patient, and real. And so, with this truth nestled in your thoughts like a tiny spark, you drift gently into the next question. If the vacuum never rests, if emptiness is always trembling, what lies beneath stillness itself? You settle deeper into the hush of night, feeling the weight of stillness around you. But beneath that silence, the universe breathes softly. Even in the void, at temperatures approaching absolute zero, motion persists. Your mind may imagine emptiness, but nature laughs at such quiet. Imagine the coldest place you can. Now, go colder. Take the temperature down until all that remains is the slightest vibration far below the hum of atoms, beneath the tremor of electrons. Here, in this realm, even the faintest energy cannot vanish. This is 0-point energy, the baseline of existence. It's the lowest possible state, yet never truly empty. Particles flicker, fields ripple, and potential vibrates just beyond what you can grasp. It is as if reality itself cannot rest. Try to picture a single quantum field. It covers all space. It awakens in patches, letting a particle live for an instant, then vanish again. That is the dance of particle-particle pairs, appearing and disappearing. Never meant to be noticed, but always present. They flare into being, then collapse into nothing. They do not violate conservation, because their lives are so fleeting that the uncertainty principle permits their presence. Each fluctuation borrows energy, but only for the shortest breath. You cannot hold one. You cannot photograph one. But you can feel its echo in the world. This restlessness underlies reality. It gives weight to mass. It shifts electron orbits. It hums in the vacuum around you. It is slow and subtle, but it never stops. Think of a bed. You lie still. Everything seems motionless, yet the molecules in the mattress vibrate. Heat drifts out. Your breath warms the sheets, and even the deepest stillness is alive with motion. Quantum vacuum is like that life at the most fundamental scale. Always active, always humming, below noise, below perception, below expectation. Now consider the concept of imbalance. It's just as a calm lake ripples. If you drop a pebble, Vacuum fluctuations gently nudge systems. They shift energy levels in atoms. They leave footprints in the fabric of existence. One of the most subtle imprints comes through the lamp shift, tiny differences in hydrogen's energy levels. These differences cannot be explained through classical physics. They require that even empty space contributes to an atom's behavior. Through this shift, the hum of zero-point energy speaks in our laboratories. It speaks when hydrogen emits light, when spectral lines shift just enough to remind us that stillness is an illusion. Now, stretch your awareness. Picture the vast emptiness between galaxies. Space so empty that a single photon may drift for millions of years. Yet, even there, vacuum energy persists. It drives the expansion of the cosmos, propelling galaxies apart in accelerated dance. Says dark energy, a force that is nothing. Yet everything it fills space with tension. It shapes the destiny of the universe. It reminds you that emptiness is not absent. It is potent. It is relentless. It is true. Let's return home. Inside every atom in your body, 0-point energy vibrates. It keeps those atoms from collapsing, from freezing to perfect stillness. It maintains the structure of matter. This energy gives rise to molecular bonds, to your DNA's twisted ladder, to the rhythm of your heartbeat. It keeps you alive. Sometimes you feel tired. Sometimes you feel still, but beneath it all, at layers deeper than thoughts, there is activity, quiet, relentless, foundational. You may ask, why don't we notice this dance? 'Cause we are too large, moving too fast, too warmed by breath and blood. Our senses are not attuned to fluctuations too small, too rapid, but instruments, accelerators, spectroscopes, atomic clocks can detect these energies. They measure them in electron volts, in spectral shifts, in forces between plates. These are whispers we translate into understanding. In labs around the world, scientists have cooled atoms close to absolute zero. They trap them with lasers. They slow them to near motionless. They watch as quantum fluctuations warm them back up. No matter how cold they try to make them, particles resist surrender. They dance. They smell of uncertainty. They remind us that absolute zero is unreachable, not because instruments fail, but because nature will not allow it. You feel the parallel in life. Stillness is precious, but never total. Emotions flicker, thoughts ripple. Breath thunders softly in your lungs. The human mind resists perfect.com. Yet in that resistance, there is gentleness. There is life. Now, let us touch the edges of this quantum restlessness. Close your mind's eye on a beam of light traveling through space. It is not alone. It interacts with vacuum, slows, it bends, it shifts even in a vacuum. Photons flirt with virtual particles. They dance with nothingness. Thus, even light is shaped, not just by matter, but by the hum of the void in particle. Accelerators, electrons curve slightly differently. Their magnetic moments shift. The match between predicted and measured values is a victory, but also a reminder of the restless energy beneath every deviation. Whispers, nothing is ever truly nothing beneath your skin. 0-point energy hums, lest it turns into warmth, into structure, into energy. It supports every heartbeat, every step, every breath. When you slept, just now, it was there. When you moved your hand, when your mind held a thought, when your heart pulsed, none of it happens without the hum. You are woven from it. So the next time you feel empty, a moment of doubt, of quiet boredom, or the hush before sleep, remember, you are not empty. You are thrum. You are foundation. You are a chorus of infinite whispers. You are a universe resisting perfect stillness. And so, you listen, not to silence, but to potential, to that soft, unwavering restlessness beneath all calm. You rest, knowing that even stillness holds a pulse. What will you discover when you learn to trust what lies beneath the places that seem most quiet? quiet. You lie still, your breathing soft, your thoughts drifting toward silence. Yet beneath your calmness, a secret drama unfolds, one invisible, one you cannot sense, but one that shapes everything. In the quantum realm, emptiness is never truly empty. It's a stage for a ceaseless ballet of virtual particles. Imagine a parenthesis in the script of reality, ever so brief, but always present. Particle and its mirrored twin emerge from nothing. They dance for the slimmest fraction of time and then vanish, dissolving back into nothing, as if they were never there. These are virtual particles. They don't last. They cannot be captured. They leave no fingerprints, okay? Yet, they push, they pull, they change the stage around them. In the vacuum, a photon travels. A beam of light flits across the void. Within that vacuum, quantum field. Theory tells us the photon interacts with virtual electrons and positrons, exchange energy with the photon, and vanish all in an instant. They alter the photon's path slightly, shift its properties, and then are gone. Because of these interactions, the vacuum acts like a weak lens. Light bends, energy shifts. Every photon traveling through space carries the memory of countless virtual encounters, but we cannot see the particles themselves. Instead, we see their imprint in the bending of light, the shift of spectral lines, in the resonance of particles and accelerators. These virtual pairs also create forces between real particles. Picture two electrons near each other. Neither wants to be close. They're both negatively charged, after all, but they both interact with the vacuum. Each electron fluctuates with virtual particles. One electron's field shifts that local quantum foam. The other electron responds. They feel a repulsion, not just directly, but through the vacuum's response. In a sense, virtual particles are the messengers of force, okay? They carry the weight of interaction between particles, even when nothing tangible passes between them. You might wonder, how can particles that last less than a whisper matter at all? You can think of this as borrowing energy from the universe in quantum mechanics. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle allows you to borrow energy for a short time. Delta T, yeah, don't you, HR pi. As long as you pay it back quickly, no law is broken. So these fleeting pairs borrow from the vacuum, then repay instantly. They are impatient transactions, interest fees paid immediately. Still, when you add up trillions upon trillions of these interactions, their effect becomes real. They shift energy levels, causing the Lamb shift in hydrogen. They grip plates of metal, causing the Casimir effect. They warp the propagation of light, creating phenomena like vacuum polarization. Imagine entire cosmic events shaped by unseen visitors. Just for a moment, virtual particles flicker within the magnetic field of a neutron star. They shape the radiation. They channel the force. They leave no residue, but they calibrate the dance. Deep underground, key and particle accelerators. Scientists measure discrepancies between theoretical predictions and observed results. These tiny variations, like the electron's anomalous magnetic moment, reveal virtual footprints. It is like listening to an echo in a canyon. You never see the walls shifting, but you hear the resonance of something unseen within your own body. This dance continues. Every atom in your cells, in your DNA, in your proteins, in your neuronal receptors, is influenced by vacuum fluctuations. In the bonds between atoms, in the shapes of enzymes, in the speed of electromagnetic signal within your nerves. All carry the signature of virtual visitors. Though your heart beats in rhythms of seconds, Connie proceeds at time scales so short they defy imagination. They shape you, not by being tangible, but by shaping the laws that govern your body's chemistry and quantum foundations. What's most beautiful is that this dance is happening inside every moment, even now. Even as you lie with eyes closed, even while your breath is soft, virtual particles shimmer beneath your skin. underpin every vibration of your cells, and remind you that reality itself is never still. Your sense of peace, that tranquility you carry within, arises not from emptiness, but from a fullness you cannot see, a presence of potentials quietly shaping you. And yet, how much of this deep dance can we truly know? Science gives us equations, it gives us experiments, it hands us instruments that whisper back the signatures of virtual particles. But you, in your stillness, listen with something deeper than instruments. You listen with a sense of connectedness to the rhythms beneath reality. You know by feeling, emptiness is never empty. It is pregnant with possibility. It whispers with presence. As you drift deeper into rest, feel the resonance of that quiet motion. Feel your body aligned with a dance of potentials, choreography written without music, yet full of rhythm. You are not separate from it. Your history, the gifts of your cells, your genes, your breath, all are written in the quantum field. Even now, as you drift into dreams, the vibrations continue. Your atoms resonate, your molecules align, your reality hums. In your stillness, be comforted by this. Something unseen is always at work, each flicker of nothing shaping every moment of something. And so, in this hush, trust that being means participating in a dance deeper than sight. What truths might you awaken to when you listen beyond even the subtlest whispers? Picture two polished metal plates lying parallel to each other in a perfectly still room. You hold them at a distance, just a few nanometers apart, and then let them rest. There's no fan, no wind, no magnetism pulling them in. And yet, if everything is done just perfectly, they will slowly drift together. This is the Casimir effect, a phenomenon where nothing space so quiet it seems vacant exerts pressure. The retreat of the plates is powered by what isn't there between these plates. Quantum fluctuations still occur, only those that fit the narrow gap. Outside, the vacuum doesn't care. Fields vibrate in full freedom. Inside, they must dance in tight spaces. This difference in possible fluctuations creates a gentle imbalance, slightly more pressure outside than inside. And the plates move toward each other. It is a whisper of geometry, a movement shaped not by presence, but by absence. This effect is not a curiosity, it matters. On the scale of nanotechnology, where objects measure in billionths of a meter, the Casimir force becomes tangible. It can attract tiny components, bend microscopic cantilevers, and even influence the design of future devices. Engineers crafting nanomachinery must account not just for materials, but for the ghost pressures of emptiness. And yet, this isn't limited to labs. In the realm of fundamental physics, the Casimir effect hints at something broader. Space is alive with structure, even when it appears empty. Let's frame this in more poetic breath. Imagine your bedroom, the walls, the floor, the ceiling. You feel them close, supportive, present. And then you step out onto your porch, into open sky. There is opacity, and then there is openness, a difference between walls and air. Now, imagine removing the porch's walls entirely, leaving only a narrow corridor between two large sheets of glass. The sky remains still, empty, yet the corridor feels different, shaded, quiet, slightly altered by geometry. That shift is the whisper behind the Casimir effect. Back in the lab, scientists bring the plates closer, just a few dozen atoms apart. Then they measure the force. It is tiny, but measurable, a fraction of a Newton per square meter, yet enough to be undeniable. The result is real. It matches calculations from quantum field theory. It matches again and again. Even when they swap metal for dielectric materials, or cold for warm or flat plates for curved surfaces, the effect shifts but never fails. It is a hallmark of the vacuum's geometry. Now, let's drift back home to your body, to your breath. Just as the plates feel pull from nothing, Your cells feel forces shaped by the invisible vacuum. In your bloodstream, proteins fold carefully, avoiding collapse. Water molecules align. Ion channels open and close. Tiny geometries underlie every movement, all shaped by forces no eye can see within your cell membranes. In the synaptic gaps of your neurons, the Casimir-like forces shape the alignment of molecules. They guide the interaction of DNA strands. They carry subtle effects across the tiny spaces inside you. Your biology exists in a garden, both visible and invisible, sculpted not just by matter, but by the spaces between molecules and your body. Cells tug at each other through connective tissue. They feel tension and compression, all without contact. This is also geometry in motion. Similarly, the Casimir effect emerges when any field's electromagnetic scalar are confined in space. This is not science fiction. It is the physics behind microelectromechanical systems, EMS, found in accelerometers, sensors, and tiny switches. Your phone, your car's safety systems, even some medical devices use this whisper of emptiness to function. Even the space between your eyelashes, barely visible, holds vacuum, a vacuum shaped by geometry. It holds light, it bends air currents, it reflects heat. It is not empty, it is alive, and so are you. But the Casimir effect also hints at something deeper about what absence means. It tells us that space is not a blank canvas, but an actor. It shapes reality as surely as matter does. Gravity is another example. Geometry, affecting motion. But the Casimir force acts at the smallest scales, where emptiness becomes energy, and geometry becomes influence. Consider this. You lie awake at night, feeling the quiet house around you. Feel the weight of stillness, the tension of silence. You wonder if something is missing: space, time, sound. But really, the space is not hollow. It shimmers, it breathes, it reacts to you, even in absence. Now, picture the future. Tiny machines, smaller than cells, floating in your bloodstream, delivering medicine precisely, walking through veins to fix damage. They are guided, not just by what touches them, but by the quantum vacuum. Engineers design their movement, accounting for Casimir forces, planning for the pool of emptiness as much as for the presence of fluid. Even in the quietest parts of the body or bones, your cartilage, quantum whispers influence growth, decay, repair. As you drift deeper into the space between breaths, feel the walls of your airway, feel the bridges between molecules, feel the silent influence of boundaries. Notice how shape matters. Spaces carved between your cells carry forces that guide growth, healing, movement. You are surrounded by geometry, not just of bones and blood, but a vacuum of nothing, of shaped emptiness. And this stillness is a lesson in presence. How absence itself can speak, how spaces can pull, how geometry can guide fate. Your breath is shaped by lungs that expand, contract, and shape the space you inhabit. Your heartbeat echoes across vacuum within your chest cavities. Templating, shape, and void. The Casimir effect reminds us, every space we carve between plates, between cells, between breaths, carries influence. The hush of your lungs, geometry, speaks. The spaces between your cells pull their own quiet weight. Even in emptiness, boundaries shape you. What might you learn if you listened to the spaces you once thought were silent? You lie quietly, drifting into a restful state. Perhaps your breathing slows, your thoughts soften, your body melts into stillness. But even here, at the threshold of dreams, there is energy. Not the rush of worries or the spark of ideas, but a deeper, subtler hum. This is the ground state, the lowest energy a quantum system can hold. And unlike classical systems, which can rest dead still, quantum systems refuse the void. They vibrate, they shimmer, they promise potential, even when everything else is silent. Imagine a violin string that cannot stop vibrating. Even after the last note fades, the wood continues to resonate. Invisible waves linger. In the same way, quantum fields never reach absolute silence. You may wonder, why can't a quantum system be perfectly quiet? Because of the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, a fundamental rule. To know a particle's position perfectly, you must sacrifice knowledge of its momentum. To still its motion entirely, you would need infinite precision in its placement. Possible. Nature prevents total calm. The best it offers is a ground state, the softest hum it can produce. Now visualize a simple quantum harmonic oscillator, an electron bound in an atom, a molecule vibrating, a crystal lattice quivering under heat. Even when cooled to temperatures near absolute zero, the particles inside resist. They sway. They breathe. They vibrate. These ground state vibrations are silent, but they are meaningful. They set the baseline for all reactions. They shape chemical bonds. They influence the behavior of materials, the speeds of enzymes, the development of life itself. When you eat, you rely on these ground state rhythms to break bonds, to reform molecules, to power motion. Even in the quiet of your body, they are singing at the cosmic scale. The vacuum's ground state energy becomes cosmological constantal pressure that fills space. This is the same energy that drives dark energy, pushing galaxies apart. It is the hum of the ground state writ large across the universe. This energy is gentle, persistent, universal. It exists in every cubic centimeter of space. It is quiet, but it is there. You are surrounded by ground state energy. Your body bathes in it. You move through it. Even at the smallest biological scales, ground state energy matters in your cells. Proteins fold and unfold, searching for the lowest energy shape. They vibrate, adjusting until they find equilibrium. But even then, they never settle. Okay? They budge in small waves, adjusting to temperature, to bonding, okay, to environment. This perpetual dance at the molecular level is powered by ground state energy. It allows life to adapt gracefully, to remain flexible, to resist collapse. Now, consider your own resting state. When you pause, when your breath is soft, your thoughts recede like tide. You might feel empty, but you are not, even in rest. You pulse, your neurons hum, your mitochondria glow. Your cells vibrate with quantum possibility. What you feel as emptiness is actually a landscape rich with soft intention. Breathe deeply. Feel your body settle. Know that beneath your awareness, a hum persists. Fields shift. Molecules tremble. Ground state energy keeps them from freezing in your lungs, your cells. Your heart ground state energy is at work silent, essential. Now, let's touch the edges of this energy, how it shapes matter. In superconductors, electrons pair up and move without resistance. This happens when thermal vibrations fall below a threshold. Yet even then, ground state energy remains. Those paired electrons still vibrate in quantum harmony. The movement is seamless, but it is not still. In superfluids, helium flows without friction through tiny channels, but the atoms are never fully motionless. Quantum fluctuations persist in the ground state, shaping the liquid's properties, its flow, its responses, even its quiet soundlessness. These are macroscopic signs of ground state energy, proof that the hum of the quantum world echoes into our experience. Back in your body, this energy enables the plasticity of your memory. Proteins shift in your synapses, guided by soft molecular vibrations. Synaptic weights adjust. Neural pathways form. Your thoughts are built on this foundation of quantum hum. Your memories, your emotions, your sense of self, all rely on this deep foundational vibration. Pause a moment. Notice your heartbeat. Even now, feel feel your pulse. Beneath that rhythm lies ground state energy, soft, unwavering, foundational. Without it, bonds would freeze, proteins would stiffen, life would collapse. It is not a luxury, it is essential. In physics, measuring ground state energy is tricky because it is everywhere. It cannot be isolated. Instead, we see its effects in changes Casimir pressures, Lamb shifts, supercurrents, even in normal materials, semiconductors, organic tissues, gynecologic membranes. Ground state energy is the subtle glue that holds them together. Your awareness of stillness is shadowed by this hum. Even now, as you begin to drift into sleep, your body rests on quantum foundations. There is no absolute quiet in your cells. It's only potential. It's only possibility. And that is the gentle beauty of existence. To find rest, but not inertia. To seek peace, but not stagnation. To trust the hum beneath your rest. In the hush of your rest, know that you are supported by a quiet energy that never stops. Even zero has a pulse. What might you create if you trusted the hum beneath your stillness? You rest in darkness, cradled by quiet. Your breathing is steady. Thoughts drift softly, like leaves in a slow stream. Yet, beneath this calm, reality trembles with possibility. In your hand, you may hold a small stone. You can feel its weight, sense its shape, track its presence. But at the quantum level, there is no hand that touches completely. Only fields, probabilities, possibilities. At the heart of this mystery is the uncertainty principle, introduced by Werner Heisenberg in 1927. It tells us that some pairs of properties, like position and momentum, are linked in such a way that the more precisely we know one, the less precisely we know the other. If you grip an electron's position with certainty, its momentum scatters in mystery. If you pin down its momentum, its location dissolves into probability. This uncertainty isn't an inconvenience, it's a feature, a whisper from nature. The world resists absolute certainty. Now, imagine a part of space where everything seems still, a vacuum below absolute zero, with silence under its skin. Even here, uncertainty stirs, because if you cannot measure both attributes perfectly, then even the vacuum cannot be motionless. The fields must jitter, the particles must flicker, the void must dance. This is why the vacuum, though silent too, the ear hums with trembling possibility. Let's explore this more gently. Imagine lying in a still room. The walls silent, the air unmoving. You see dust motes floating in a single shaft of moonlight. Dang drift, a sign of breeze you cannot hear or feel. You might call the room still, but it is not static. Your senses are too coarse to capture its motion. In the quantum realm, the sensitivity goes deeper. Heisenberg's principle guarantees that fields and particles can never be fully still. That is why the vacuum cannot be still. Within that trembling vacuum, Artesian particles, temporary pairs of particles, and antiparticles arise and vanish. Their flickers carry momentum that cannot be zero, and their positions cannot be fixed. Each fluctuation is a flicker of uncertainty. Each pair is an embodiment of the principle, and while you cannot see them, they shape the world by being present. For just a moment, you may wonder, how do we know they're there? Because their consequences ripple into view. In electron microscopes, in atomic clocks, in particle physics experiments, these flickers leave fingerprints. Small shifts in energy levels, what we see in the Lamb shift. Tiny forces, what we feel in the Casimir effect. Subtle changes in particle motions, what we detect in cyclotrons. All trace back to the flicker of space itself. Consider your heart pumping, expanding, contracting. At the large scale, its motion is steady. At the quantum scale, the molecules within your heart cells are trembling. Heisenberg's principle ensures they cannot be fully still. Cellular jitter maintains the flexibility, the warmth, the vitality of your body. It is not noise, it is life in your neurons. The flicker of ion channels operating at the quantum edge enables thought, memory, sensation. Even the release of neurotransmitters in synapses depends on ground state uncertainty. If everything were predictable, your mind would be mechanical and creative, non-alive. But uncertainty births creativity, spontaneity, emotion. Because if the universe were fully determined, there would be no possibility, no breath, no surprise. Pause. Now, breathe in. Feel the rise of your chest. Breathe out. Feel the soft release. Feel the certainty in your rhythm. Gas. Feel the unknown between heartbeats. What lies between one breath and the next. There is space. There is possibility. There is motion unseen. That space is like the quantum vacuuming certain, trembling, full dot. Now, stretch your awareness further outward. Picture a galaxy, vast, unfathomable, but even between its stars, uncertainty hums in the early universe. Quantum uncertainty seeded structure plasma fluctuations that grew into galaxy clusters. From nothing uniform emerged everything diverse, because uncertainty is not chaos. It is potential. Perhaps your own mind flickers this way, thoughts emerging not from control, but from subtle uncertainties. Your dreams unfold. Your creativity sparks. Your intuition whispers. These are not random blips. They are rooted in the way your brain harnesses its uncertain possibilities. Even intuition begins with flickers. Remember now, rest does not mean absence. Stillness does not mean nothingness. Between your thoughts, there is space. Within that space, possibilities tremble in your breathing, in your resting, in your being. There is empty space that is not empty. That is the hum beneath existence. Heisenberg also warned us about observation. When you measure something, you interact with it, you change it. You force certainty in one measurand, so you surrender certainty in its partner. This is true not only for particles, but for your own life. When you grasp a tightly aimed outcome, a plan, an idea, you narrow your experience. Yet when you open allowing uncertainty, you give space for something new. In silence, in rest, in stillness, you embrace uncertainty. You sit with possibility. Take a moment now. Feel the darkness around you. Feel the silence. Allow the space to be uncertain. Trust that it is not void, but fertile. That between your breaths, between your thoughts, potential stirs. In the hush, uncertainty hums. In the gaps, possibility breathes. And in your quietest moments, the universe unfolds beneath your skin. But what happens when those roots of uncertainty stretch into answers, and what do you do with the knowing? You lie quiet, heart slowing, breath soft and even. Your world feels stilly beneath your senses. A deeper reality hums. Not of particles, but fields sensing, unceasing, foundational. Okay? They stretch across space, invisible canvases upon which reality is painted. Imagine a calm lake. The water is smooth, unbroken, silent. But beneath that surface, water molecules shift, currents move, daring, energy flows. And if a breeze rises or a stone is tossed, ripples form, travel, and dissolve. In our universe, fields are like that water. Calm doesn't mean absence. It means potential. Fields are more fundamental than particles. An electron is a ripple in its electron field. A photon is vibration in the electromagnetic field. Quark is a wave in the strong force field. Where fields rest, we call it vacuum. Yet rest is not quiet. Fields remain. They hold within them the capacity for particles, for events, for reality unfolding. When you reached out to touch your hand, you felt the solidity of your tissue. But at the deepest level, those atoms were fields, vibrating in rhythm, fields that refuse to fully settle. Let's bring this closer to your breath, in your lungs. Oxygen molecules ride electromagnetic fields. Your blood moves in response to fields guiding ions across cells. Your heartbeat is shaped by fields orchestrating electrical flows. Even your thoughts images, sorrow, joy, rise from electrochemical waves in your brain. These are crossings of fields. Neuron fields, ion fields, neurotransmitter fields. They are not static maps. They are dynamic textures, rippling and refracting with every breath, sensation, and reflection. You are not just a body of cells. You are a living symphony of fields. Fields can be quieted, but never silenced. In laboratories, scientists trap individual particles. They cool them near absolute zero. They isolate them from disturbances, yet nothing stills the field entirely. It continues to jitter, to hum, to resonate at the level of quantum fluctuations. Your cells face similar boundaries. Your DNA folds and unfolds in response to hydrogen bond vibrations, fields interacting in motion. Your body regulates temperature, but molecular fields within continue their dance. Ripple meets ripple, field meets field, in quantum field theory. Every interaction is a conversation between fields. Fields overlap, combine, transfer energy, yield particles. When you wave, hello. Your hand's molecules interact with photons' tiny fields, sending signals to your eyes. Fields are not passive backdrops. They are participants. Their shape determines forces, okay? Their vibrations determine particles. Their fluctuations seed galaxies. Consider the Higgs field, a gentle sea that suffuses space. Particles moving through it feel resistance. Some gains mass, others remain light. Your mass is partly a gift from this invisible field. Yet the Higgs field doesn't vibrate unless disturbed. It is stable, it is calm. Still, it is a whispering ocean for every particle passing through. Visualize your bedroom again. Remember that moment between wakefulness and sleep. There is nothing visible that shifts. Yet, your mind drifts, pulse slows, dreams arrive. You may say the mind is still. Yet, beneath that silence, thoughts impulses, memories, questions hum. Fields are similar. You cannot see them, but they shape what is possible, what can exist. Move, connect. In your heart cells, ion channels open as charged fields shift. Sodium flows in potassium outfields, creating an electrical rhythm. This triggers a beat. This opens a valve. This moves blood. Fields everywhere. In neurons, fields form synaptic potentials. They polarize membranes. They fire signals. Your thoughts carry field signatures. Measured in labs, field fluctuations explain particle creation and annihilation. Fields ripple. Particles flicker into existence when energy spikes. They vanish when energy drains. Entire events occur on the crest of those waves. Your creativity, your intuition, your body's healing all emerge from fields, interacting, weaving new patterns. Now breathe with this awareness. Inhale deeply. Feel the air molecules breathing fields again. It's oxygen fields riding electromagnetic waves. Your lungs expanding against field resistance in your chest cavity. Your diaphragm shifting fields in your tissues. Feel the ripple of the field that is your existence as vibration at a greater scale. Fields shape the cosmos. Gravitational fields mold galaxies, bend light, guide planets. They are ripples in space-time. Itself, another field. Your body lives within this grand embrace. Your bones feel the pull of Earth's field. Your blood flows because gravity shapes pressure. Your sleep schedule aligns with Earth's rotation field in times of rest. Listen to your internal symphony of fields, the electromagnetic cadence of neuronal firing, the thermal hum of a molecular vibration, the mechanical field of your heartbeat echoing in your chest, the gravitational cradle beneath your bones. They are you. They are also the cosmos. Field dynamics are why healing follows geometry. Your skin cells respond to tensile fields when you cut yourself. They migrate, dividing to fill the gap guided by electromagnetic and biochemical fields. They restore wholeness, replicating a field pattern again. This healing is not random. It is a choreography of fields restored to shape as you drift toward sleep. Let your awareness widen to the molecular fields beneath your skin. 2. The organ fields guiding heartbeat and breath. 2. The neural fields conjuring dreams. 2. The cosmic fields enfolding your body and home planet. Know that emptiness is never void. It is a tapestry, a mosaic of possibility. You exist in a garden of fields rippling with presence. Even in seeming emptiness, the landscape of potential is rich. What new pattern might unfold tonight in the fields you have yet to feel? You close your eyes and rest in quiet. Your breath drifts like a slow tide. Your thoughts shimmer at the edge of consciousness. You may feel suspended in nothingness, sad, hushed space between moments, but in that hush, existence is possible. From this same emptiness, the universe may have begun. In the quantum realm, fields vibrate. In their rest the ground state, they hum. Sometimes, fluctuations in these fields coincide, ripples align, and spontaneous creation occurs. A ripple pulses strongly, a particle emerges, a trace of energy becomes something, a photon appears, an electron forms, a neutrino flickers into being, and sometimes they vanish again. These creations can be fleeting, permitted by time's uncertainty. Other times, fields sustain them. They propagate, they interact. Become real. Imagine throwing a pebble into still water. The ripple forms even though no wind blew or stone fell. The lake's own stillness created motion. Similarly, the vacuum can birth particles. Pure possibility manifests. This spontaneous rise is not fantasy. It's measured, calculated, even harnessed. In certain materials, electrons appear from vacuum under strong electric fields. This is called the swinger effect. A powerful field pulls a virtual electron positron pair apart before they can vanish, turning potential into reality on the surfaces of cosmic objects like neutron stars. Intense gravity may do the same. Vacuum energy becomes real matter under extreme conditions. Some physicists go further. What if the entire cosmos began as such a fluctuation? What if void trembled, then birthed the Big Bang? In certain inflationary models, the universe starts from nothing, not as a divine exhale, but as a quantum ripple in some deeper vacuum. A fluctuation grows, expands, becomes the cosmos. Pause here. Feel your own emergence from dark silence into wakefulness tonight. You awoke from nothing or from the soft realm of sleep. Your mind emerged. Your body ignited. Creation repeats at countless scales. A poem, a memory resurfacing, a thought born. Spontaneous creation within you echoes the universe at large. In biology, a similar marvel occurs. Protein folds correctly without instruction, as entropy guides it. A cell replicates a strand of DNA accuracy, rises from fields and enzymes. These are creations from molecular void, emergence without engineered outcome. You are built this way, spontaneously, beautifully, even at night. Your dreams emerge from nothing. They flicker, fade. They surprise you. They have no force behind them. Yet, they materialize. Your mind is a vacuum of sorts, an empty stage where spontaneous creation unfolds. Back in physics, Hawking radiation is another form. Near black hole horizons, virtual pairs appear. One falls in. The other escapes, comes. Real radiation, carrying energy away. A black hole is erased, bit by spontaneity in its void. Your body, too, heals through similar invisible processes. Cells repair damage to not by command but by spontaneous interactions of proteins, membranes, fields. Notice this pattern. The vacuum hums. A fluctuation arises. Creation occurs. Reality grows. Each time, potential becomes form. You Resting here, your lungs relaxed. This chapter is being written by the void of your attention. Your perception is the stage on which thoughts are born. There is no writer. There is no force. Still, words emerge in your bones. Calcium crystals form. They emerge from ions in fluid, guided by fields, geometry, need. Structure arises from soft fields and fluctuations. You walk on creations you never witnessed, yet they sustain you. At night, your heart continues. Cells renew. Signals manage contraction. Ions shift. Each beat is a spontaneous movement. It's not directed, but emergent. You are the product of countless spontaneous events. Imagine the first particle of your existence. It's emerged in your mother's womb. It flickered into life now. Here you are listening quietly. Your existence is a living testament to creation from nothing. With each inhale, air fills vessels, cells respond. Oxygen binds, hemoglobin, KP births, energy. These are spontaneous. Chemical creation's life emerging again and again. Now, enlarge your awareness, your breath, your heartbeat, your thoughts. They are spontaneous events, a tapestry woven from fluctuations. You do not force them. Perhaps you sense a parallel. Creation isn't only cosmic, it is daily. It is yours. You are the field humming in, which your next thought, your next breath, your next movement emerges. So rest in the miracle of emergence. Know that creation is not loud, it is quiet. A flicker in the void, born out of nothing, yet everything. What else might begin tonight? Hidden between silence and dream. You rest beneath the vast canopy of night, feeling the gentle hush embrace you. Your breath drifts like mist in stillness. Above, stars hang in their silent vigil, and beneath their distant light, the universe itself expands quietly, gently, undeniably. This expansion is not driven by galaxies rushing outward. It is the fabric of space itself stretching. It is a silence growing louder in scale, subtly. For eons, the force behind it we call dark energy, not because it is malevolent or empty, but because it remains unseen, ungrasped, understated. Imagine a balloon resting uninflated on your lap. When you add air, it grows. The rubber expands. The space inside increases. But the contents don't push outward. They fill what you create. Dark energy is different. It is not a substance added. It is a property of space itself, an intrinsic tendency to expand, to stretch, to lengthen. Every cubic centimeter of space carries it. Every moment, it acts, pushing, growing, shaping the cosmos. This energy is faint, extremely faint. If you filled your room entirely with dark energy, you'd feel nothing. Yet, across entire galaxies, its cumulative effect becomes profound. Roughly 70% of the universe's energy density comes from it. Galaxies drift apart. Clusters slow their growth. Its void grows where matter once might gather. What once seemed timeless becomes expansive. In the 1920s, astronomers noticed galaxies receding. It seemed the universe had a beginning, a moment when expansion reversed. We thought gravity would slow it. Instead, in the late 1990s, scientists discovered it was accelerating, driven by something they could not see. This dark energy is calm in its force. Its signature is not violence, but subtlety. It is an expansion that whispers, not shouts. Imagine standing on a vast plain at dusk. You feel a breeze so soft you doubt it. You wait. Then you feel the earth itself shifting beneath your feet slowly, endlessly. This is acceleration you can't feel, but you sense it in rising dusk. So too does dark energy move the universe, not with crash, but with drift. This expansion shapes your destiny, too. Every atom in you comes from long ago formed in stars, carried across eons. But your future exists in space that is stretching right now as the universe expands. Even the light in your eyes will journey farther, travel longer, grow colder. That same expansion influences how your body ages, how your heart ages, but on cosmic scales, timelessly unnoticed. If you could drift in an intergalactic void, you'd feel the stretch not as movement, but as distance increasing between the places you know. You might whisper a thought. 1,000 years later, your echo would still be traveling. Dark energy is the hush lengthening that path, but space is close to you. Your room, your city, your solar system are held together by stronger bonds. Gravity, electromagnetism, nuclear forces, the expansion acts, but you do not feel it yet. It is an echo of vastness, not a pulse here in your chest. Dark energy may be constant as Einstein suspected when he first introduced the cosmological constant, or it may vary over time, a field that changes, grows, fades. If it changes, our destiny changes too. An endless expansion, a slow tear, a quiet cooling. What happens when even gentle force shapes everything? Close your eyes, feel your breath, sense space around your body. Now imagine the walls around you gently drifting away imperceptibly, slowly, endlessly. Your room remains until the walls restrain the flow into the expansion battles. Structured. This is the balance between freedom and form. Our sun holds us close. Gravity stabilizes our planet. Dark energy whispers outside the solar sphere. Its force is not nested in your life yet, but it shapes the cosmos that shaped you, the heavier stars that made your atoms, the space that warmed your planet. Pause, feel the tension between the stillness of your breath and the boundless expansion of the cosmos. One is intimate, one is infinite. Both are real. Physicists are searching. They measure supernova, galaxy, clusters, cosmic microwave background. They study how dark energy evolves. Is it constant? Is it variable? Could it become negative, pulling space inward someday? We do not know yet. Within you, dark energy is not active. Gravity drives your blood flow. Molecular bonds shape your existence. But on scales of billions of light years, its calm persistence steers everything. Your cells do not stretch, but your thoughts, your imagination can travel that expanse. And in your rest, your mind drifts across light years. You consider ancestry of galaxies, of stardust, of cosmic beginnings. You sense the lengthening silence, not fear it. Why it is calm, a vast letting go. What if this expansion is your inheritance? No longer just history, but present. You live within expanding space. You live in a universe that grows. That growth is silent, but potent. It shapes cosmic deserts. It deepens darkness. It spreads distance. And yet, it is not cold. It is not empty. It is full of potential. So tonight, as you close your eyes, know that the silence surrounding you is more than quiet. It is active. It is unwinding. It is every bit as real as your breath. You lie within a universe that is breathing outward. And although you cannot feel the stretch, you are held in its calm embrace. In the hush of night, sense a gentle drift, an expanding canvas beneath your skin. You are both still and part of a growing silence. And in that paradox, your universe whispers a quiet truth. Some forces so gentle they are almost invisible are shaping everything. You rest beneath a canopy of stars, feeling the hush of night around you. There is something in you that feels infinite, vast, like space, deep, like dreams. Yet, even cosmic voids have boundaries, and within those boundaries, everything moves. Black holes appear the most final expression of emptiness, a region where gravity is so intense that not even light escapes. They are shadows folded in on themselves, echoes of what once was, now silent sentinels. But silence is not stillness. At the edge of these dark giants sat their event horizon. Quantum whispers persist. In the 1970s, Stephen Hawking proposed something astonishing. Black holes are not eternal. They emit radiation, now called Hawking radiation, and slowly evaporate. This radiation arises from the same quantum vacuum that hums behind everything. Virtual particles, pairs of matter, and antimatter appear everywhere. If one pair forms at a black hole's edge, one falls in and the other escapes. The escaping particle becomes real. It carries energy that the black hole must lose. So, just as the Casimir effect shows empty space can push plates together, Hawking radiation shows black holes leak. Emptiness can pull something out of nothing. Even here, in the deepest gravity well, emptiness influences reality. Picture a pebble dropped into a pond at dusk. A ripple forms, moves outward. On the edge of oblivion emerges subtle light. This light is the Hawking radiation, escaping the black hole's pull. The radiation is weak. For large black holes, evaporation may take longer than the age of the universe. Still, the principle holds. Nothing is permanent. Even the darkest place can leak light. This idea reshapes everything. What if death isn't final? What if disappearance leads to new beginnings, slow, subtle, unseen? Hawking taught us emptiness redeems itself, even from death's door. Think now of your own losses, endings, grief. You may feel evaporation, heartache leaking into days. You may believe certain parts of you are gone forever, but quiet processes like radicals healing or memories emerging in dreams are your own Hawking radiation. They are small escapes of light from darkness in black holes. The process is gradual, gentle, a whisper against the void. In you, healing is similar, not dismantling, not erupting, but persistent coaxing. Fields align, chemistry shifts. Light, memory, love, insights, merges. Even black holes balance mass and entropy. As they evaporate, their entropy shifts into radiation. Their history stored in their horizon leaks out in soft patterns. This mirrors your own growth. Pain stored in your mind may become poetry. Wisdom, empathy, soft transformation emerging from memory's gravity. Imagine gazing at a black hole from afar. You see nothing, only darkness. Set, you sense decay. You feel the gentle trace of particles drifting out in your life. You may appear quiet, stationary, complete. Yet, beneath the surface, there is transformation. Subtle leaks of growth, insight, renewal. In the deep dark between thoughts, you whisper. You change. Even in silence, you evolve. And just as black holes can shrink, your old wounds may soften. Your sharp edges may round. Your heart may heal just a little each dawn. Pause now. Touch fingertips together. Feel electric fields, warm skin. Know that what feels most still may be drifting, healing, reconsidering. Your body, your mind, your heart, they carry their own evaporation. As you embrace the hush, you hold a lesson. No darkness holds forever. No emptiness is absolute. Life can leak beauty from pain. In your silence, feel the soft light emerging. Even shadows bleed blossoms. And so, you rest in the knowing. Transformation often begins in the quietest cracks. What new warmth might emerge in the depths of your own stillness? You lie now in the soft quiet of bedtime, drifting between waking and dreaming. Your breath is rhythm, your heartbeat a steady pulse. Time seems constant, unmoving, like the steady tick of a clock on the wall. But in truth, time is pliable. It bends, stretches, and folds, shaped by speed and gravity. Albert Einstein taught us that clocks tick differently depending on your journey through space and mass. Not a theoretical trick, but a measurable truth and a constant companion to your own moments. Imagine two clocks, one traveling aboard a plane, the other resting on Earth. When the traveler returns, they find their clock lags just a tiny bit behind. Moments off by microseconds, imperceptible, but real. Your life is woven from these small differences. You, too, are living with a bending clock in the precise timing of your heartbeats, in the speed your thoughts travel, in the gravity that nudges you toward Earth. Consider gravity's influence on you. Standing at sea level, time ticks slightly slower than it does on a mountain peak. Not enough for you to notice, unless you measure with an atomic clock, fine enough to sync your phone's GPS twice a day. Gravity is a gentle weight on your time, pulling your seconds into stillness. Your breath carries that curvature. As you inhale and rise, you move farther from Earth's center. Time strangers there move ever so slightly faster. As you exhale and settle, you draw closer. Time slows. Every breath is a tiny dance with gravity's clock. Speed also shapes your seconds. If you walked, rode a bike, flew in a plane, your clock falls behind the clock at rest on Earth, ever so slightly. Your movement through space bends your time. You live in constant slipping of moments, slower, faster, shifted by your motion. Now, hold that thought gently. Breathe soft. Feel your breath rise, then fall. No, you are tracing a world line through curved time. Your life is not governed by absolute seconds, but by how you move, how high you are, how deep you rest. This is not philosophical poetry, it's human reality. GPS satellites correct for both the faster ticking and altitude and the slower ticking due to their speed. Without those adjustments, your smartphone would lose position by kilometers every day. Your life, digitally guided, already trusts relativity. But more than technology, it shapes your being. Your heart pulses you move through time differently with each beat. Your racing days tick one way, your restful nights another. Time expands and contracts in your living experience. Moments of joy stretch long. Moments of sorrow compress into stillness, just as physics says. Now, imagine a future where you travel to the stars. You take a ship close to light speed. Cues pass for you. Keys pass at home. Your clock bends so deeply with motion that time becomes personal. Einstein called it the twin paradox. You return younger, not by choice, but by physics. Your life's chapters shift. Even without starships, your life experiences relativity. Your days are not measured in absolute ticks, but in lived, time felt, remembered, curving with context. Your physiology responds. Slow release of adrenaline changes heart's tempo. Stress speeds your internal clock. Rest slows it. You live with a bending clock, even now. Consider your memories. They compress and expand in recollection. Okay, the first day of school, crisp and vivid. A long grief, slow and deep. Your mind stretches. Time, your internal clock, is elastic, shaped by emotion and experience. Emotion is relativity of time. Joy and sorrow don't just feel different. They are different in your brain's time. Your neurons fire with pulses shaped by biochemistry and memory. You are a living time bender. And here is the quiet marvel. You can influence it. You can slow down your days through mindfulness. You can warp your time with awareness. Living becomes lived time. Each night, as you drift, you reflect. Today's moments stretch a warm cup of tea, a soft conversation. They become part of you. Your clock, bent by kindness, attention, presence. This is your gift. It's not to control time, absolutely, but to shape your felt experience of it. You live with a bending clock, not a contradiction. Cause your breath. Feel your breath. Feel your pulse. Remember, your clock moves with you. It bends. It curves. It flows. Time is not enemy. Time is companion. Let yourself rest in the knowing that every second softens, deepens, becomes yours. You are a traveler on your own timeline, shaped by breath, by gravity, by presence. Tonight, trust the gentle curvature of your clock and listen for how time unfolds in your own quiet moments. You lie quietly beneath your blanket of calm, feeling the soft rise and fall of breath, the gentle flutter of awareness. In your mind, There is space, perhaps stillness, but never complete silence. You sense something flicker, shift, shift again. You can't name it, can't see it, but you feel it. This is measuring the immeasurable, finding meaning in the unseen, proof in what cannot be held. In labs around the world, physicists peer into emptiness not with microscopes, but with subtle instruments that sense what lies beneath. They measure energy shifts in atoms, not by touching them, but by watching light change color, frequency, timing. They measure tiny forces, like the Casimir force, by watching metal plates drift by the width of a dozen atoms, driven not by wind, but by vacuum pressure. They measure evaporation from black holes, not by watching them vanish, but by detecting the faint glow of Hawking radiation. They measure not objects, but effect, impact, whisper made real. Like tracking your breath with a mirror, none can see the steam, but they feel the mist. Similarly, scientists see nothing but something. They get spectra of light from distant stars. They see slight shifts in absorption line signs that vacuum energy nudged electrons. They see gravitational waves, not by looking at black holes, but by measuring laser beams traveling kilometers apart. Shaking by fractions of atomic width, technology becomes extension of sense, magnifying faint reality into graspable signals. Let's bring this inside you. Observe your heartbeat with fingers on your wrist. You feel vibration, pulse, pressure, flow. But what causes it? Cells releasing ions, proteins shifting, fields pulsing. You cannot feel each cell, but you feel their unity. This is like measuring the vacuum inside. You don't feel each virtual particle, but you feel there's some defect in your lungs. Consider airflow sensors detecting dust or moisture. They don't see individual molecules. They sense pressure, flow, change. You adapt, cough, clear, rest. Your body acts on what it doesn't fully perceive. So do scientists, and so do you live in worlds filled by the unseen. Take another breath. Exhale softly. Feel the air sharpen inside your airways. You sense pressure, moisture, warmth. These are macroscopic signals, built from trillions of molecules, dancing guided by fields at microscales. Each inhalation brings chaos into order. Each exhalation releases waste. You measure life in flow. Consider temperature. You feel warmth on your skin. But what happens at atomic levels? Molecules vibrate. Fields respond. Energy moves. Your sense is coarse, but science is finer. Together, they unfold meaning at different scales. Now, picture a cryogenic lab. Atoms cooled near absolute zero. Lasers trap them. Sensors measure their jitter. Even so, uncertainty remains. They measure it, but cannot freeze it. Yet, they learn. Physics is not about capturing silence. It is about listening to it. Similarly, in your own life, you may not see every heartbeat in detail, but you feel its regularity, its rhythm, its wobble when life strains you. You measure the immeasurable by presence and cosmology. Scientists measure dark energy by mapping supernova across billions of years. They don't see dark energy. They infer it from how galaxies move, how light stretches, how clusters age. You, too, measure your own shifts by how your mind sways, how memory bends, how emotions deepen. These are not failures of precision. They are invitations to wonder. In your relationships, you cannot measure love by meter or scale, but you feel its presence through care, kindness, shared silence. You are doing what scientists do, measuring impact in absence of artifact. Pause again. Close eyes. Sense stillness. Feel your weight in the bed. Feel your breath. You are whole. You are energy. Okay? You are vibration. Measurement is not ownership. It is curiosity. It is caring enough to see scientists build instruments. You build attention. Imagine yourself as both observer and instrument. When you rest, Your body reports to your consciousness temperature, heartbeat, comfort, tension. When scientists measure vacuum, they build instruments that convert pressure, energy, radiation into data. You convert sensation into knowing, and so you practice with life. You notice when your chest feels tight. You notice when your thoughts wander. You watch yourself breathe. You measure kindly, not to judge, but to understand. This practice mirrors science at its best. It does not aim to own the unknowable. It respects the unknown. It speaks not from obsession, but from gentle attention. Tonight, as you drift in your sleep, consider, what truths can you catch in your own weather of breath? What pressures? What tensions? What changes? They may be subtle, but they matter. They shape you in the darkness. Sense yourself whole, made of silence and noise, of measure and mystery, detectable presence and a quiet potential. You are a living field of data. You rest in the knowing that even the gentlest shift is not nothing, that absence carries a message, that silence can speak. What will you learn tomorrow from the quiet registers of your own being? You lie still, the night enfolding you in soft darkness. In this hush, you sense a presence not of noise, but of potential, not of absence, but of readiness. This is the fullness of nothing. Throughout this journey, you've traversed hidden realms, fields rippling in emptiness, virtual pairs dancing in shadow, cold plates drawn together by quiet forces, in the vibration that remains, even in stillness. At each step, the vacuum revealed itself not as empty, but as rich soil for creation. Now, in this final chapter, you return to the void, not as a barren desert, but as a living canvas. It is a canvas where new worlds may paint themselves, a space where your next breath, your next dream, your next idea are poised to emerge. Think of nothingness not as silence, but as the space between notes. In music, the pauses are as meaningful as the melody. Empty bars hold tension. Set the stage for harmony. Similarly, the quantum vacuum is a silent score, awaiting the next note. It hums beneath your skin, carries your potential within you, between heartbeats, between breaths, between thoughts. Space holds promise. Each pause is alive with possibility. Your cells rest in nightly quiet. They rebuild, they heal, they whisper new configurations into being. Your mind in sleep sorts memories, weaves patterns anew. Your dreams emerge from nothing, yet they shape emotion, insight, healing. When you wake, your mind is refreshed. What was nothing becomes everything. That is the power of emptiness, ability to seed life, to hold space, to harbor becoming in the universe. This vacuum is vast. It stretches between galaxies, holds cosmic energy, drives expansion, shapes gravity, warps spiking. It is everywhere. You, made of stardust and water, are intimately connected to this emptiness. Each atom within you once rested in cosmic vacuum. Each heartbeat echoes ancient fluctuations. You are not separate from the canvas. You are part of it. Our lives often chase fullness, activity, achievement, noise. But tonight, you honor quietness. You honor pause, because in the darkness, you are not gone. You exist in fertile silence. Transitions in life hinge on emptiness. Moments between seasons, between days, between thoughts are where change initiates. Allow the silence to hold you. Now, in this deep, quiet, imagine the next moment. A breath, a dream. Everything flows from the void, from potential stirring. Gather this truth to your heart. Nothingness is not emptiness. You are not empty. You are fertile, capable, filled with possibility. As you drift toward sleep, let this understanding embrace you, that rest is not absence. It is presence in its gentlest form, that silence is not void. It is the birthplace of creation. Each cell within you hums with the fullness of quiet. Each breath carries the potential of new beginnings. Each night brings renewal to rest, cradled in the knowing that in this silence, life is still unfolding. What gentle truths might dawn tomorrow, born in the sacred quiet of night?